closer to conceivably what is going to be this deal that's announced. Our parent company, Comcast, continues to still be in the hunt, certainly wants people to know that. And the competing offers for these Fox assets we've talked so often about are close in terms of their value, though the amount of debt assumption and the equity being contributed, hard to exactly pinpoint where each offer is, though both above an enterprise value, as I said earlier this week, well above $60 billion for those Fox assets. Yesterday's news involved Bob Iger. It's a question that I've been asking a number of times here as we've been reporting on it, namely, well, Mr. Iger's contract ends in the middle of 2019. If you are a Fox holder right now and you're going to be getting a lot of Disney shares, including the Murdoch family, which will also be a significant owner of Disney shares, would you be happy with the idea of this large deal happening and the integration really just underway? Let's call it 6 months underway if they announce the deal next week and it takes a year to close, right? He'd be leaving in July of 19. Would you not want some continuity there? Well, they answer that by potentially having Mr. Iger stay longer. And we're waiting to see if there's a filing involving his contract and an extension that would take place should this deal go forward. That would, of course, also mean perhaps that Mr. Iger is abandoning his plans to potentially run for public office, including would have certainly been some efforts on his part to investigate the idea of running for president in 2020.
You just threw that out like that?
I did. I talked about it yesterday, too. There's no doubt about it. I know. I mean, he's been thinking about it.
Thinking about running for president?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, in the sense that, like, we all think about running for president?
No, in a real way. In a real way.
Does he have a committee? Or is it...
I think he's done some work on it and investigated the possibility of it and how he would appeal to voters and what the themes would be that he would emphasize as potentially an economic centrist, perhaps more liberal on the social side. Do you run on the Democratic platform? Do you try to run as an independent? What his appeal would be, outsider status. But all of that most likely not going to happen when this deal happens, which seems more likely, and he stays.
Well, with the antitrust, I mean, I listed some of the worries that I have last night. And I just think, okay, well, all these deals that we would have talked about as being, hey, you know, and this is a stock deal, it would take 6 months to close. I mean, no. Yeah. I mean, it may be up to the election time.
Yeah. This could take a year. I mean, let's assume it does.
Is he going to have like a primaries? Is he like going to go to Iowa?
Well, you'd have to start fundraising
right now. I mean, you'd have to. New Hampshire.
No, you'd have to get started really soon.
How does he feel about, say, ethanol? I mean,
I don't know his position on that.
No.
No.
Well, because
farm subsidies,
right? Yeah, well, you know, you got to get started early. Do you see him like eating corn dogs in Mississippi?
Listen, I don't know. You tell me. Mark Cuban, Howard Schultz, Bob Iger. Who am I missing?
Are those three baby kissers?
Not necessarily, but was Donald Trump a baby kisser?
No, there were some babies that he actually
we got to move on. I don't think that's it.
Well, so many other things actually to get to on this in terms of questions that are being asked, the tax ramifications. Let me give you the latest, at least on that, for people who keep asking me. It looks like MergeCo would be where the tax liability is, and maybe some benefits for SpinCo under this deal. SpinCo is actually the Fox assets that would remain behind. I know it gets confusing. MergeCo is what Disney's going to be exchanging all that stock and taking on that debt to gain control of. And then we got other questions. James Murdoch, would he actually go and run some of these assets for Disney? Is that a possibility? It seems like it might be. Not that he would in any way be in line for the CEO job in the future, necessarily. So we'll see.
Well, you got to answer a question for me, David. It's really bugging.
Yeah.
When you're trying to buy something, why do you play your hand? I mean, Comcast, the parent company, just never comes out. We'd be interested in that. Well, then Fox goes up.
Right.
Why? You've got the security, and you keep talking about it as people want it, and the stock kind of climbs a little bit. We got an upgrade today. I mean, should we just like speak softly? I mean, why would you bid up an asset that you want? Why is it so? Why not play more close to the vest is what I'm saying.
That's a good question. However, when you're in a competitive auction and you're trying to sort of exert pressure, you might hope that shareholders conceivably share your view of things in terms of your lack of risk on antitrust, the value of the consideration that you'll be giving them. and perhaps hope that your own stock will be bid up, given it is a fully stocked transaction.
That is a great point. Maybe Comcast feels that ultimately the stock will go higher.
And guys, we'll have plenty of time. We'll see. Again, late next week is what they're targeting in terms of a potential deal here. We'll see if they get there, and I'll obviously have a lot more updates between now and then.
What a story. Huge story.
Amazing. Meanwhile.